Cowboy Night Before Christmas by James Rice, as read by Athena WiseNrich. 'Twas a cold Christmas Eve on the southwestern plain, and a north wind was blowin' through a broken window pane. In that sod shanty shack, far from home, warmth, and care, shivered two lonely cowboys, such a scraggly pair. They crowded the fireplace where the flames flickered low from smoldering embers that heated too slow. Then a knock at the door and a bang on the wall. Over the sound of the storm, they heard a call. "Please open the door and let me come in. I'm near froze to death and chilled to the skin." The door was unbolted and then opened wide, and a fat little old man jumped quickly inside. There was frost on his whiskers, and ice hung from his nose. He shivered and shook from his head to his toes. In spite of discomfort, he didn't complain. His expression was jolly as he paused to explain. "I was moving this cargo and making good time. I'd covered the country from desert to pine, till I crossed the border to this panhandle land, and a southwestern norther commenced stirring the sand. The temperature dropped more'n 100 degrees. My team soon fled north, where they'd less likely freeze. The old cowman had doubts, but the strange little man, but in Southwest tradition, he put out his hand. 'You can shake off your boots. You're welcome to stay, or we can help you to be on your way.' The answer came quickly, with a twinkle of eye. 'I got many a mile yet 'fore the sun hits the sky. Could you find me a team? I gladly will pay. Then point my nose south, and I'll be on my way.' The only critters we have that could pull a full load are the ornery longhorns, and they'd have to be showed. They ain't never been hitched to a wagon with reins. They'd be too much trouble. They're a mite short on brains." They made an odd threesome as they went out on the range, the old cowhand, the youngster, and the old man so strange. They saddled 3 broncs in the dark freezing night. With cold stiffened fingers they made the cinch tight. While roping the longhorns they bumped and they stumbled, and numerous times from their hosses they tumbled. It took all 3 working an hour or more to hitch up the wagon in 2 rows of 4. The longhorns at first refused to obey when the strange little man tried to get under way. Then one lifted his head and gave out a bellow, and the rest of them, one by one, started to follow. The longhorns were straining and pulling together. They built up their speed, then just like a feather, on a strong gust of wind, their feet gave a bound. Then man, wagon, and longhorn all at once left the ground. The old cowboy and youngster stared up in surprise. A trick of the storm, too much wind in their eyes. Those were their thoughts as they looked at the sky. Any fool knew darned well that such things cannot fly. The young cowboy grumbled as they moved toward the shack, but the old one stayed silent, pert near all the way back. They reached the sod shanty and opened the door, and they couldn't believe what they saw on the floor. 2 pairs of new boots with spurs made of silver, with a note but no clue as to who was the giver. They made out the words in the dim fireplace light. "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."